So we're 1 minute after the half hour, and we do have some good content, so we are going to get started. Uh, Today, we are presenting the art of place, maps that merge design, data, and discovery. And our presenters today are Phil Worland, who is the co-founder and chief product officer of Cecilian Partners, as well as Luke Decker, who is the director of visual services at Cecilian Partners. Before we get started, I just wanted to go over just a couple quick housekeeping items. This session is being recorded, and recordings will be available to all registrants after the build event. So, just go to the build lobby where you've been accessing all of these sessions. And after the event next week, at some point next week, you'll be able to just see recordings of all the sessions. Captions today in this session are available in multiple languages. There's a little image on the right there. The caption button in your Zoom menu will give you the options for captions. If you do have questions, please submit them through the Zoom Q&A function. That's also another button that should be in your Zoom menu. I'll be monitoring the Q&A throughout this session. That's your best chance of getting questions answered. So when we're done and we wrap things up, we'll have some time for questions. I'll be looking at that Q&A box for questions. Some people have been using the chat, and that really is okay. But I look at the Q&A first. So if it's in the chat, I might not be able to get to it. And then finally, we are really wrapping up build. For me at least, we're in the afternoon of the last day of build. But you can see the remaining sessions coming up at mapbox.com/build. And so with that, and without further ado, I'm going to pass this off to Luke, who is going to share his screen and get things started for us. Go ahead, Luke.
Perfect. Thank you, Greg. So just to start off, just want to say before introductions, it's always a privilege and pleasure to be in builds. So thank you, Mapbox, for allowing us to be a part of it. It's really great to be here. And we're excited to talk about what we do at Cecilian Partners and how we use Mapbox. So let's roll right into introductions.
All right. Thanks, Luke. So I'm Phil Worland. I'm our co-founder and our chief product officer. Impressive sounding title, but I almost know nothing about what we do. So thank God Luke is here to talk about how we utilize Mapbox. And Luke is our director of visual services. This is one of many promotions that he's had in the last couple of years as he has really built himself into an incredibly knowledgeable Mapbox engineer, and has been responsible for a lot of the great projects we've delivered for clients. So I'll give a little bit of background on what we do and who we serve, and then I'll turn it over to Luke to talk specifically about how we apply some of the things that Mapbox applies or gives us to our customers. Awesome. So Cecilian Partners is a prop tech company. We serve the new home and community development construction industry. Shockingly, as most people have probably heard, the real estate truism of location, location, location. But what we've found is that most of our clients are not really that good at talking about the location, which is where Mapbox comes in. So if you keep going, Luke, to the next. One of our core constituencies is something called master plan communities. And if you don't live in what is known as the smile of the United States, which is Virginia down to Florida, over across through Texas, up into Arizona and the Western United States, you're probably not that familiar with what these things are. But a majority of new homes in that part of the country are built and sold in master plan communities, which are essentially small towns or cities that are built. Master developer creates the plan, works with the municipality to design what this is going to look like, amenitizes the community. It's typically what you're looking at right now is actually a real master plan community called Lakewood Ranch in Sarasota, Florida. It's been developed over the last 40 years. So actually, before I was born, it's important for everyone to note that I am under 40 currently, and will continue to be developed for another 50 years after this. So it is truly putting together a city that includes everything from parks to community centers to commercial centers to research facilities to universities. And these are huge projects in many cases. Some are smaller than this, but it's a really complex, beautifully engineered, great experience for people who buy homes. Um, but you still have to sell stuff to people. And historically, these communities have not done a good job of being able to articulate the complexity and help home shoppers figure out what they're looking at, where they're looking at it, and how to actually buy something. So, PDF maps. I had a client tell me just a couple months ago he's still using Microsoft Paint to color in hand-drawn maps to be able to tell people what they can buy where. And even challenges for those who are more progressive around using things like an Apple Maps or a Google Maps, um, because these are highly custom. These people want to talk about these places as self-contained spots, not as dots on an Apple map. And so for us, we try to figure out well what would customers like? They need something that's mobile first, so it works all the time because most people are using their phone. You need something that's visually compelling and allows a huge amount of customization. These are branded communities. They have a whole host of needs, and they change every day. You can't wait 6 months for a new road to show up on your map. You need something that you can go in and truly customize. And then finally, you need something that translates location awareness to an actual customer experience. And so for us, Mapbox was the natural choice because there's no other platform that can enable this kind of customization, this kind of flexibility, the cost effectiveness of it, the visual appeal of it, the fact that Mapbox is constantly innovating, and those are innovations that we take directly to our customers. It really hit all of those things and puts us in a position to deliver really unique and innovative solutions for our clients. And so for us, those solutions look like what we call Res OS, which is residential OS. So it's kind of trying to be a little bit clever, but pulling together a bunch of things that we do. We start all the way on the planning, financing side of the house, go through the sales cycle, and actually support residents post buy through a digital engagement platform called Customer Blueprint. And the beauty of this is that our maps run through every single one of these products. So if you are financing a piece of land and you want to understand what lot 102 that costs $179,000 looks like and where it is, we're going to show it to you. If you're a customer and you want to know what you can buy between $500 and $750,000 in a particular community in Texas and what color it is and what that plan and elevation look like, we can tell you. And if you're a resident that wants to find an amenity center or a class in your community, book it and get directions to walk there from your house, we can do that. And it's all built on a foundation of Mapbox, its beautiful visual representation, and its flexibility in how it uses and showcases data. So that's what we do. That's why Mapbox has been so important to us. I'll turn it over to Luke to talk about how this comes to life for our 100+ mapping customers. We've mapped 250,000 acres. We have hundreds of thousands of lots that our products manage. And I think each and every one of them has benefited remarkably from the solutions that Mapbox enables us to deliver in the market.
Perfect. Thank you, Phil. So to kind of get into more of the detail on what Phil was talking about, as you can imagine, with all those numbers and all the products and all the various different phases that our core customer base master plan communities go through, there's a ton of data. There's a ton of data. And the great thing about Mapbox is over the years, not only has it innovated, but it's continued to allow us to manage this data step by step for these communities and without sacrificing any performance or customization, as I'll get into. So really the starting point for most of our customers when they come into any of our products and then eventually have to be brought into Mapbox is we get all of this data. We get spreadsheets, a ton of spreadsheets. I'm sure there are people in the audience who also get a ton of spreadsheets when bringing on clients. And we also get a ton of aerial imagery, whether that's old aerial imagery, new aerial imagery. We get, as Phil said earlier, plat maps. With that, we also get CAD files and other engineering files. And we also get a lot of marketing maps. These communities come in at various different stages. They have different visions. of the community with new different phases. For instance, Lakewood Ranch, which we showed earlier, and how old it is. I think there's 30 plus phases at this point, which is gigantic. And then we also have our own GIS work that we do in-house to tie everything together. There are, of course, gaps within the data that we have to fill in order to tell the full story of any of these communities on any of our products. And really at the center of all is Mapbox. It allows us to host all of this data in one place and really give the best vision of our customers' communities to the users, which are the American home buyers. So one thing to really call out that Mapbox has continued to do for us is customization. Every single step of the way, every single map we've done, the customization has not only been incredible with Mapbox, but it's also innovative. This is a snapshot from one of our new templates, which I'll get into. And as you can see, we can juggle a lot of data and customize it. This is in a community called Walsh, where not only do we have buildings, pool, courts in the left, but we also have a parking lot and some tree sprites. Not fully 3D, but it's enough to really sell in detail what someone is buying into, or in this case, this particular amenity or groups of amenities that they're buying into when they decide to live in a community like Walsh. Terrain is another huge thing. We have plenty of clients who are in and around ski resorts or just mountainous regions. In this case is Marcella, which is out near Deer Valley, actually right up against it in Utah, if anyone's ever skied out there. They have a beautiful property that's built right into the side of the mountain and ski slopes that you can come right down to wherever you're staying, whether that's the Hyatt, which is at the base of their community and the base of the mountain, or any of the properties which are on the mountain themselves. And so Mapbox has really been able to tell stories like these, or helped us tell stories like these really well for clients who have just incredible communities with really awesome amenities. And finally, last but not least, is performance. Again, performance with Mapbox and all the data we have to leverage has always been incredible. We've never seen any of the maps tend to dive in terms of performance. They've always been really great, whether it's been on a kiosk or a mobile phone or a computer. And I apologize, there's a train in the background. We do have a train here in the New Hope office, so if you hear it. But here is Babcock Ranch. In this case, we had a ton of trees. We had to map for Babcock Ranch. They're in Florida. And when we put all the tree sprites on and finally mapped it, we were surprised, like, oh my goodness, the map actually works. And despite all these tree sprites, it can still load and you can move around, which is great. I mentioned earlier templates. This year, we started using templates, our own templates on top of Mapbox, which has been incredible. We have four. We have Sol, Mesa, Peak, and Dune. Little joke there for any sci-fi nerds for Dune. Sol, which is kind of our base map, our basic map, we provide it to most of our clients in and around Florida, Texas. Mesa is for more of the mountainous regions that might not get winters. Peak, as you saw with Marcella, is for any of our clients who have really just like ski slopes and incredible winter amenities. And Dune is for our clients in areas like New Mexico and Arizona. In this case, in the small little screenshot here is Ranchos Florida. So with that out of the way, I think it'd be nice to go through some of the products and actually show you guys how they operate and how Mapbox operates inside of them. So for the first one, we'll head on into Ramble, which is one of our Explorer clients. We'll take a look at how that looks or how that works. So this is Explorer. Phil mentioned it earlier. This is our point of interest solution. Explorer is great in that we found clients at every stage of their community development have used Explorer. Lakewood Ranch is one of our Explorer clients, and they've been around for, as Phil said, decades at this point. And we've also had clients who are brand new communities use Explorer to show the early stages or the things to come for some of these communities. So Explorer is great in that it tells a story mainly with points of interest. You can come up here and search for any point of interest, or as I prefer, you can come on down to any of these categories and filter that way. And just at a quick glance, without going any further, you already get a lot of details, whether it's an image, a name, or a snippet for these POI pop-ups regarding any of these points of interest within Ramble. If we go in and click on any of these POIs, We then also get a nice side panel here. We allow our clients to build a lot of extra information on top of Mapbox. So whether it's images, description, or even in this case, navigation to kind of give them directions from the center of community or from where they choose to that particular amenity. I'll see if I can find another one here, but we also embed some other things into these POIs. So bear with me for 1 minute. Or you know what? I bet this one has it. It does. We can also pull in Google Street View, which is really awesome in the side panel here. Again, giving just more details per each of these POIs for those who just want to understand more about this location. And then, of course, there's the map itself, zooming in and out. The POIs cooperate really well with them, which again, it's one of the cool things that you can do with Mapbox. And in addition, we have a few other pieces that we can use with Explore. For instance, we have a satellite view, which we can toggle on and off. And we can also show travel times here. So this is one of Mapbox's navigation features that you can use. And from the center of Ramble, we can get a really good sense of a 30-minute walk to a 30-minute bike ride to even a 30-minute drive, which are the POIs that our clients want to use to tell their story, and how long it's going to take for anyone to get to them. So that was Explore, which again is our point of interest solution. So I will go back to where we were. And let's take a look at the more detailed product here, which is the XO. So as Phil mentioned before, the XO is really our lot management solution. Not only do you get the detailed maps from Mapbox and the features from Explore, but you also get to take a look at the homes offered by a lot of these communities. So I'll collapse the side panel for now and just focus on the map. Similar to Explore with the point of interest map, we can go in and hover on any of these lots. And as you can see, we get a little bit of detail in terms of each of them. We get an address or a lot number in this case. We get starting prices, we get lot sizes and lot numbers. And then we can also sort various different properties. So if we want to sort by prices, the map will adapt and we can see all these lots getting highlighted, or by builders. We can also use some of these additional filters up top. So for instance, if we only want to look at beds that are 3 and up beds, or let's try 5 maybe. There we go. Now we get a few more limited results. We can now kind of see homes that are going to only be 5 or more beds. And we can do this similar with builders, move-in dates, and various other filters. But clicking into one of these lots will actually get a lot more detail. We can get a full image gallery for any one of these homes. Unfortunately, this one only has 1 photo, but that's totally okay. And we can scroll down to even more details than what we got in the tooltip. So here, as I'm scrolling down, we can see, as we saw before, the square footage, the price, but we also get a description. We get details for plans and elevations, which are very important for our clients and the homes that they sell, and various other details. And of course, there's the map, which is great as well. This is Sunbridge in Florida, for anyone wondering, but we can zoom in and get a feel for some of the amenities and some of the neighborhoods. If you're a home buyer and you want to figure out, hey, I want to live by this amenity park here, there's this available home. Or if you want to scroll over, there's a school within the community. So maybe you have a family and it'd be kind of nice if your kids would just have to walk out the front door and school's right there. But this is the XO. Again, our lot management product. We'll go back to the presentation here. Whoops, there we go. All right, so that was really all we had to show you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, really awesome to be using Mapbox. We love using it across every single one of our products, and we love to see all the innovations you guys continue to do.
Thank you so much, Luke and Phil. I think I speak for everyone when I say you really deliver on the title of this presentation, like the art of place. It's highly functional and like stunning to look at. So just appreciate you coming on and giving us a little insight. We do have some questions. So toss this out to you. The street view that you showed is very cool in the side panel, said Atmica. What does the navigation button do? If you know what they're referencing. What does the navigation button do? Does it have embedded navigation?
Yeah, I'll take that one real quick, Luke. So the navigation button within that side panel that you were showing will actually pull up. It uses a center point for the community itself, and then shows where that point of interest is relative to the center point within the community. Now we have played around, and part of the linkage that I was talking about earlier is that that's kind of early in the sales funnel, right? You're kind of getting a feel for the community, what's there, how big it is. As you buy a house and ultimately start to live in the community within our customer blueprint product, there is like a whole walking. We use Mapbox native navigation functionality, and it becomes the thing that you hold up your phone. Oh, you can't see that, but you hold up your phone, and it will take you around to all those points of interest and all that data. Part of the beauty of what our technical team has built on ResOS is a consistent data model and data structure so that those things run all the way through, so that we're not creating multiple data sets where points of interest are in different places. It's actually one consistent thing. And I think that it's sort of the different layers of Mapbox that it allows you to use. It's really a beautiful product in that way, in that, hey, if you want to show generic stuff, that's navigation, or you want to like tell someone how to walk from their house to a location, it can do all of that quite well.
Excellent. Um, keep going, 'cause we got questions flowing in. Guy is curious how you handle SEO on these products and integrations with Mapbox, the side panels, etc. Are the individual POIs discoverable in search?
Luke, you want to take that one?
I was gonna say you could take it. But so for really in terms of like the POIs and like having them how we handle like SEO, for the most part they live within Explorer for those points of interest. So most of these maps do live on our clients' websites, and uh, they're pretty front and center in some cases. So people usually go there to find the POIs. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to kind of fill in there in terms of
No, I think
SEO.
I think it is one of the challenges a little bit, guys, in doing this is figuring out the balance between a highly customized and specific experience within a community website versus something broadly accessible to folks. And what we're not trying to do, just to be clear, is like we don't compete with Google Maps or Apple Maps. That's not what we're doing, right? Like we are giving a highly tailored experience specific to communities that's designed to pull people in context of the brand of that community. We try to make it as accessible as possible. There's a whole conversation going on about AI search and how you do that and optimize for that we're going through, but that is the tightrope that we walk.
Okay. Craig asked, do you use 3JS or any other 3D tools to draw 3D features on the map?
I could definitely answer that one. Um, so Craig, we have messed around with it a little bit. We used it for a point of interest map, an Explorer map that we did a while ago for a property called City Place. We used it to bring in some 3D buildings. We haven't used it so much since then, but we have explored. Most of the features you see on those maps, they are built via GIS workflows. So for those of you who are familiar with it, using like ArcGIS or QGIS and kind of bringing the data together there and drawing in the deltas between the data. And then for most of our maps, we then post them onto Mapbox Studio, and that's what you're seeing being brought into Mapbox. But definitely love the 3D question.
All right, Luke and Phil, I do have to wrap this up on the hour. We have three questions right now, so just for timing. Related, are the icons themselves flat, like not 3D, or are they 3D?
So the icons themselves are flat. but they are gradient icons. So for those of you who don't know, you can actually bring gradient icons into Mapbox Studio. We recently kind of figured that out. So do with that as you may, mess around with it. Another reason why Mapbox is so cool.
Thank you. In an ideal world, what product enhancements would you like to be able to add to your current maps to make them even more appealing?
Bill, I have something in mind, but if you want to lead with
Go,
this,
Luke, and then I'll take the last two.
okay. Um, I would say, I guess this is also kind of more to Greg. I would say if like Mapbox, for instance, for maps, if drag and drop 3D objects into Mapbox Studio and just ease of use there, no code, that would be an amazing innovation. I think that would make mapping so cool.
Like trees, for example?
Like trees or like GLTF files.
Yeah. I think it's in the vein of what Mapbox is doing, right? Is making maps that are fast to load, but also visually really interesting and rich. Building renderings, terrain renderings, all that kind of stuff. I think, I know Mapbox is investing a lot in satellite imagery and faster updates, and so those are all things that the richer that can be, the better for our clients. There's a last question here, Greg. Let me just read it and I'll answer it and then we can go. It says, who manages the day-to-day updates on property info? Can that be client managed CMS or do you have to do it? We have a whole CMS backend on this stuff, guys. It's got global patents on how it gives fast answers to things in these communities about what can be built where. It's quite complex and powerful, all the way to we pull in MLS feeds and feed that directly to the map. So our technology backbone is built to be kind of the interplay between the visual map experience and the information that's displayed on there. We can be pretty flexible in terms of how that happens.
All right. This was an amazing presentation. Thank you so much for joining us and telling the story, Luke and Phil. As you can see, we had a lot of engagement too with the questions, so clearly it resonated. Um, I want to give you the opportunity if you want. I know we already posted a link to Cecilian Partners, but if there's anything, any other links or something you wanted to post in the chat, please feel free right now just to promote Cecilian. And then, yeah, we appreciate everyone joining us, and we do hope to see you on just the few remaining sessions that are happening for Build. So thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Craig.
Thank you.